All right, everybody. So I'm sure you all know by now, if you know anything about me, that I am not really the most well-versed when it comes to 80s movies. I've seen, I don't know, like, I think I've seen around like 75 or 80, 80s movies. So I haven't seen like a whole ton of them, but I'm going to be doing a list today where I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite 80s movies of all time. So I hope you guys are excited about this. So after this video, I want to hear in the comments below, what are your top 5 favorite 80s movies? Let me know. So with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into my list. So coming in at number 5, we have Land Before Time, the original Land Before Time. I used to watch this movie so much when I was a kid. This was one of my obsessions when I was a kid. I loved Land Before Time, and I love most of the series as well. But nothing really beats that classic Land Before Time movie. It's still, I think, one of the best animated movies ever. It is so good. Everything about it is just so charming and great, and the story is great. The characters are so memorable, and it really sparked the way for a really, really fun and awesome series for kids moving forward. And I think it should be mandatory for every kid to watch Land Before Time. So that is my number 5 spot for my top 5 80s movies. Let's go ahead and move on to my number 4. Coming in at number 4, we have Rocky 4. So this isn't my favorite Rocky movie of all the Rocky movies, but this definitely is my favorite 80s Rocky movie. I believe that there was Rocky 4 and Rocky 3 that were made in the 80s, if I'm not mistaken. So I really, really enjoyed Rocky 4 a lot, and honestly, that is a pretty good movie, appropriate for this time because of how patriotic it is. It really is a pretty patriotic movie, and that's one of the things I really like about it. I really love the whole fight between him and Draco. I think that's great. I love his training and stuff. I think all of that is just fantastic, and I love how inspiring this movie is. It really is an inspiring movie, and it really is an awesome movie, and I think that it's a great movie for Americans to be proud of and stuff. And I love his training, how he like trains in Russia and stuff, and how his training is so like bootlegged in this movie and stuff, which is just really funny as well. So yeah, I really enjoyed this movie. Oops, I did not mean to bump that. I really did enjoy this movie a lot. I love the Rocky movies a lot, and this one is definitely up there, one of my favorites. So moving on to number 3, we have Platoon. This movie is so good. I love Platoon. It is one of my favorite war movies ever. I love the whole story with the team, the squad, and how the platoon and how they are basically trying to survive together in Vietnam and stuff. I think that is great. I love how it really dives into like the psychological aspect of warfare and what it does to to people mentally as well as physically. I think that is great, and I really love where they go with the movie and stuff. It's fantastic. Plus, Willem Dafoe in it is just absolutely fantastic. He does such a great job, and that movie really made me a huge fan of Willem Dafoe. So I really enjoyed it from that aspect as well. So moving on to number 2, we have Princess Bride. Honestly, this is one of the best movies of all time. From an objective standpoint, I think this is probably up there in one of the best movies ever. And it is honestly probably the most quotable movie of all time, at least for me. Like, I love this movie so much. It's been a while since I've seen it. It's probably been about 10 years at least since I've seen Princess Bride, but I can still remember so much about the movie. I can remember so many of the quotes and stuff, and this movie is such a great movie. It really is. Like, this is one of the best fantasy movies ever. I love the whole story with the characters, and there's just so much going on in this movie, but at the same time, the core of the movie, the core story is just so strong and stable, and it just works. So like, it really does. The humor is just spot on. Every single line of humor just lands perfectly. I love everything about this movie. It is such a great, iconic movie, and it's a movie that everyone should watch. It is literally a movie that should be mandatory for anyone who watches movies to watch, I believe. So fantastic movie. Really love this movie a lot. Everyone did a fantastic job in the roles. Honestly, I really don't have any complaints about The Princess Bride. I really don't. This is honestly like this is like a perfect movie. It really is. So, moving on to my number 1 movie from the 80s on my top 5 list, we have Aliens. I watched this movie for the first time only like 2 years ago, and holy crap, this movie is so good. Daisy Ridley, or not Daisy Ridley, Daisy Ridley, oh my gosh. Ripley is such a great character. She's just such a fantastic character, and she's become one of my favorite characters in cinema. She's just so good. I love her story with the character, with the little girl. I don't remember the little girl's name, but I love that. I love how James Cameron brought in more of an action element to this story as well. You know, a lot of people some people that I know weren't really happy about that. They prefer more of like the horror aspect of the first one, and I get that, but for me, I really liked how this one really had that same horror vibe, but it had a lot more like action in it. I love where they take Ripley's story and stuff. I think it's fantastic. This is the best Alien movie, hands down. And there's the production quality from the first one to this one is pretty amazing as well. Like, I love how the aliens look so much more like realistic in this one. A lot more, I don't know. They just look a lot more menacing in this one. And you know, everything about this movie is great. I love how it expands on the first one so much and stuff. And yeah, honestly, I don't have any complaints about Aliens at all. I really don't. This movie is great. So, you know, with that being said, let me know in the comments below. What do you think? What are your top 5 favorite 80s movies of all time? I would love to hear what you guys think and what your list would be. So let me know in the comments below. I'm probably going to go ahead and do one for my top 5 90s movies, my top 5 2000s movies, and then my top 5 2010 movies so far as well. So with that being said, let me know in the comments below what you think. I hope you guys enjoyed this list, and I will talk to you all very soon in another video. Talk to you later. Bye.